Where does this win rank for you? Excuse me. Where does this win rank for you in regards to importance and finally putting this beef with Cody in the past for yourself?
It'd have to be my second best win. Nothing will ever replace the time I beat Burrell the first time. Going to that fight as such a big underdog and surprising everyone, and obviously just winning the belt and changing your life forever. You can't. I'll never be able to top that.
For sure. So let's talk about your performance. Your coach and close friend, Duane Ludwig, he's a regular on the show. Actually going to be speaking with him after I hang up with you. But he said he said he had no doubt that you would finish Cody. We talked about distance playing a factor, of course, with the kicks and everything. Walk us through the game plan for this fight, and were you satisfied with your execution?
Yeah, man, I was definitely satisfied with the execution. I let caution go a little bit there the last 10 seconds of that first round. That first round was very close, and I knew that. And with me being on the losing end of some very close decisions, which, I just never wanted to go out that way again, So those last 10 seconds, I kind of tried pushing the pace, and I got a little overly aggressive because I want to make sure to win the round. And, I came into Cody's right hand. I threw a straight right, hands were up and everything, but he just did perfect, man. I mean, I took his hardest punch. He split it. He got his head outside. He threw that overhand right, and it landed on the button, But I took his best shot and kept coming. Ultimately the game plan was to stay long on him. He's a counter fighter. I wanted to try to get him to come forward, but he wasn't having it. I'm one of those guys that never likes to have a boring fight, and he's a counter fighter, so he'll sit back and wait for you to come in. So, I was trying to not engage too much, but, that entire first round I was kind of cutting him off and chasing him all over the ring. But the plan was to stay long, use some push kicks on the middle. He stands real square. Kick the legs. He's got real skinny legs. Kick his legs, kick his body, and keep using that to lower his hands even lower than they already are. He holds his hands kind of at shoulder level and throws wild hooks and counters, So the plan was to kick him low so that eventually drop his hands higher and get him to forget about that head kick, because I know that him and Team Alpha Male were definitely planning for that head kick that was coming. They know that when I turned southpaw, I was throwing on him in the room, and so they were expecting that to come. But that's the perk of being able to switch up your game and be able to do everything. So kind of waiting for him to counter and then counter the counter. Find those openings. Like I said, he likes to drop his hands a lot. Even when he's throwing his punches, he throws them fast and hard, but he always drops his opposite hand. He never stays tight. His chin's always up, and exposes himself to punches himself, even though he's the power hitter and he's fast. Take advantage of the openings and stay long, which is how the fight got finished. I just stayed long on it. I stayed long on that right hook, knowing that he was planning on throwing his own right and beat him to the punch.
So it sounds like you were trying to find that happy balance in the first round between pushing the pace and not letting him set back and get comfortable countering. Is that correct?
Absolutely, man. They know that I'm an aggressive fighter. They want to try to sit back and take advantage of that and try to get me to play Cody's game, get me to get aggressive and chase him around the ring and let him try to land that fast right hand.
Well, I know that earlier in the week you talked about getting too aggressive at the end of the first round, and that's what led to Cody catching you with that shot that dropped you. But you also mentioned that the trash talk from his corner helped you reset and go into the second round with a clear head. What was Duane telling you in the corner, and what was going through your mind at that point?
Well, Duane and my corner are the ones that really kind of cleared my head from everything. I was just able to pick up on what they were saying. They not only was their camp trying to get me aggressive and piss me off the entire fight camp, but they were also doing it during the fight. Even during round one, they were trying to talk shit. In between the round, when I was going to walk back to my corner, I hear Danny Castillo and Bob yelling, "We got your fucking number, Dillashaw. We got your number." Kind of like, all right, guys, all right. I give him a little head nod, like, all right, you can take that round, but trust me, I'm coming back out. That's just the killer instinct in me. I knew that, that was just one of those things. I was like, all right, I got to get that one back. And I think you can kind of tell when I came back out. I wasn't dancing as much. I was like, all right, I got to get that round back. I got to come at you. And that's what led to me pushing the pace and breaking him.
Well, was it even more so satisfying knowing that they knew you were going to go for that head kick, I mean, they had even talked about it that, you were probably going to work the legs and try to come up over the top when he's expecting the leg kick. I mean, was it at all more satisfying to know that you landed that shot that they were looking for the whole time?
I guess so. Yeah, man. I mean, it's something that they even thought they were going to try to capitalize on me, and I was still able to take advantage of it. So, yeah, I mean, it shows that the things I do good, I can land them on anybody.
For sure, for sure. Now, the hook that landed, that led to the finish, that was very, very clean. You've always carried a lot of power from both stances, but considering it was a punch that really did him in towards the end of the fight, tell us about working with Lomachenko, man. How much work did you get to put in with him for this camp, and how much has training with him elevated your overall game?
Man, Lomachenko has been awesome. Very welcoming. I didn't get to work with him as much as I wanted to. Our fight camps have always been a little bit staggered, and so I got to go and do some sparring with him. I was completely out of shape. He fights, he goes back home, and then he comes back out, which he's actually back down in Southern California now. So I'm looking to get right back after it soon so I can take advantage of maybe getting some work in with him if I'm down there. But not only working with him, but working with a lot of boxers that helped me out with this camp, I kind of wanted to play that distance control. I know, and that Cody wanted to stay in tight like most boxers like to, So I worked with Lomachenko. I got to work with Terrence Crawford in his camp down in Colorado Springs. And I also was going out to Palm Springs and working with Joel Diaz's camp and Cub Swanson and those guys out there. So I actually got to go with a lot of great boxers and prove that my stand-up is legit, man. I got to work with some high-tech level boxers, and it was a lot of fun. I love the sport, and it's something that I love to do.
Yeah, you mentioned Cub Swanson there. I'd seen on your social media you were putting in a lot of work with him. Tell us about training with him and that relationship you guys are building.
Yeah, just a relationship that was created organically. I went down to Southern California and started up my own fight team called the Training Lab. And Juan Archuleta is one of my main training partners, and he's real good friends with Cub Swanson. Been friends with him for a while, and I was training with him. So he's been in Cub's ear talking about this team we're starting, and he just started coming out and checking it out and working with our strength conditioning coach. And one thing led to the next. He's doing all his practices out there, and it's been awesome to have him around. Not only as an athlete and how good he is, but he's a real good person. He's just started his own family, and I got a lot to learn from the guy.
You mentioned Archuleta there. Probably the top prospect outside of the UFC. I think he's got another fight on his contract, but he would no doubt be an incredible addition to the UFC. I'm sure you would agree, and would agree that he's going to have some great success going forward in his career.
Absolutely, man. The guy's a killer. He holds 4 belts at King of the Cage at 4 different weight classes. He's a workhorse. He's only been fighting for 3 years, and he's 17-1. I mean, the guy's I've never seen anybody work as hard as he does, and he was already really good, and then just the last 4, 5, 6 months of me being down in Southern California with him, the gains that he's made in his striking have been insane, and so it's really nice to see him become very well-rounded and gonna start putting it on some people. Sure. And he'll be in the UFC in no time. I agree,
and once he comes, it's going to be a great addition. Everybody that doesn't know should take point of it now. But getting back to your performance, Dwayne had talked quite a bit on this show about focusing on yourselves and taking the high road when it comes to all the bad blood and the experience coaching tough against Cody. I'm sure you guys are both looking forward now and won't dwell on this drama, but are you at all bothered by their unwillingness to drop it after the fight?
Yeah, I expected it to be a lot less, that's for sure. I expected the drama to go by. They're poor winners and poor losers, unfortunately. And I know those guys, man. It's kind of crazy to see them acting the way they have been. I mean, I used to see them in a completely different light when I was there, and yeah, man, it's real unfortunate. Me and Dwayne are going to continue just to control what we can control, and not look into anything else. Really, it's going to continue to get better. Look for these big fights, and keep taking over the world.
Yeah, that's something he said time and time again. Focus on what we can control, and no doubt you guys are quite the team, and the future is very bright for both of you. But Dwayne had also said something along the lines of, they should release the video, just stop talking about it. This was all leading up to the fight. Obviously, they did it fight week. You had mentioned on Helwani's show that the video doesn't really tell the entire story, and I think that most of us that watch it assumed that you got right back up. Otherwise, the clip would have been longer. Did the video release add fuel to the fire, or did you just kind of shrug it off at that point?
No, I kind of shrugged it off. I was expecting some sort of drama fight week. Obviously with the press conference and weigh-ins, that was to be expected. But I also expected them to take it to a whole nother level. They were really trying to get under my skin. They wanted me to fight angry, and so I expected something. I didn't know if it was going to be the fight film or whatever, I didn't think they'd post that because really it would just show that he'd been lying, but
yeah.
He did catch me, caught me with the right hand, but it shows that, if they would have kept playing the video, it shows me get up and like the psychopath I am, I yell in his face and we continue to brawl. But, it was a smart ploy by them.
Yeah, again, everybody that watched it, the majority of the people on our team, once it started circling around, we all said, well, considering that the clips cuts as soon as you get dropped, my guess is that you got back up and you weren't actually knocked out. So, again, water under the bridge, just something I had to ask about.
It was just such great quality footage too.
You know what?
It was awesome.
One of the guys from our team said it looked like it was shot through the lid of a Pringles can.
That's hilarious. That's good.
Good enough.
Yeah, man. That's one of those things though too, man. It's like that's practice. You know what I mean? Like things that everyone's got good days, everyone's got bad days. There's tons of sparring footage from the 6 years, me being there with every single fighter there of having a good day and a bad day. That's how you get better. If you don't have those situations and you don't get better from them, you're not going to be where I'm at. You got to take your licks and you got to learn from them, and you got to have guys that are going to push you. That's why I'm building my own team and bringing in world-class athletes, because you need guys. Trust me, this last camp too. I had my days where, I'm not putting everything together. That happens, and then you go home and you say like, all right, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't do this. You write it down in your notebook, and then you freaking fix it the next day. And so for those guys to be as immature as they are and release that footage, it just shows even more so that I've been saying the whole time, their true colors. Yeah.
And like I said, I know Dwayne and you were both maintaining, just release it. So obviously you guys knew the whole story, and they were just trying to pump up and hype up the fight a bit more. But what was your reaction to Urijah saying this week that he would come out of retirement to fight you? Does that sound like sour grapes to you or what?
That's hilarious, man. It sounds like the easiest payday ever. It's just comical. You come out of retirement and get a title shot off of what? Losing to Jimmy Rivera and looking like crap in his fights? That's hilarious. But like I said, it'd be an easy payday, so why should I guess I shouldn't be laughing at it. I should be pumping him up.
So looking forward now, we all know that you guys want the fight with Mighty Mouse. Dwayne loves the matchup. The UFC seems to be on board. And it also seems from what you said earlier this week that Demetrious is on board now as well. Give us your thoughts on that matchup stylistically, and do you feel like it's inevitably going to happen in 2018?
Oh, absolutely, man. That's the fight that needs to happen, has to happen. It's got fireworks written all over it, I've always said I want to be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and that's where he's at. Setting my goals high. I'm chasing him down, as well as him already denying the fight and proving to be afraid of the fight, He was making all these other excuses, and then one of his excuses was that I need to be a champion. Well, guess what? That's done. You know what I mean? You have no more excuses. It's time to get this thing on and prove who the best is. I can make the weight class very, very well, and I think I'm going to be very strong and too much for him, and he knows it. And it's going to be a great night for me to be the new best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Well, that was my next question. Segues into it perfectly. I know Dwayne has said that you can make the weight, and clearly you can as well, but how much of a lifestyle and a diet change would you have to make to ensure that you don't get in there and have any detrimental effects from the cut?
Big time. It's a big-time lifestyle change, but the cool thing about it is that I've already done that lifestyle change now. So the reason I went down to Southern California and started my own professional fight team down there was strength conditioning / nutritionist / just like straight up scientist that I met down there named Sam Calavita.
Yeah.
He was a wrestler back in his day. His brother was a real good wrestler. Well, he's transformed his body into being a triathlete. He does all these Ironmans. He's 54 years old. He's the world's best calculus teacher. Like he's he's awesome. He's so good, and so he's already changed me up. He changed my lifestyle up, even for going for 35s. I went on a new diet, just spiked my hormones through the roof. I've gotten stronger and gotten leaner, so my body index is completely different. You know, I was able to get my body a little heavier, but have way less body fat. I've never been a guy that's been chunky at all, but my as you can tell in the cage when I fought, I was ripped up. I was looking good. I felt great. That's the best shape I've ever been. It's the strongest I've ever been, and we had to work hard for me to keep that weight on. You know, when Dana White told me I was going to go 25s, within 3 weeks I was waking up at 154, super lean. Within 3 weeks of changing up my lifestyle, you know, doing different kinds of workouts, eating a different kind of calorie intake, doing some intermittent fasting. I mean, there's a lot of tricks. It's going to have to be, you can't just be like, all right, eat less calories and then go for a run. I mean, it's going to be, you know, 20 things stacked together that are going to help me make this weight not only the right way, but feel the best I've ever felt ever. So within 3 weeks, I was waking up at 140 pounds.